Hello, this is Erica Salazar with Women in His Presence, and today I'm starting us off on our annual Proverbs for a Day. We always start it in January and we do it for 31 days. What I'm going to do is bring you Proverbs 1, and I'm actually just going to do part of it. It's just going to be 1 through 7. So I'm going to go ahead and first read it and then point out just a few important parts that I found in it. First of all, it says, the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction and prudent behavior, doing what is right, just, and fair. Right away, we see the purpose of Proverbs is for gaining instruction, for understanding words of insight, and also for prudent behavior. And then it also says, for giving prudence to those who are simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. So one of the things that it reminds me is before I gave my life to Christ, everything did seem so simple. Everything was very black and white. And as I started to read the Bible, I started to look at situations a lot differently. I started to see maybe the depth of situations and how maybe they impacted me not only on the outside but also on the inside, how they impacted me not only in the present but the future, and even how my past impacted my future decisions that I made. Decisions that I thought were, well, what's the big deal? It's a very simple decision and just looking at everything very cut and dry. And I can tell you that once I got to know Christ and I started reading the Bible, I started to really see a depth and complexity of my life and also the Lord's love for us. So a lot of times people will say, well, especially if they haven't read the Bible, well, that just doesn't make sense. Well, that's not logical. But it's because you're being very simple-minded because you haven't understood really God. And if you're a believer in God, then basically you're saying He created everything. He created you, your purpose, your calling. And so this is the instructional manual for what He's created you to be, and we are to reflect Jesus Christ. So without reading this, you do kind of have a simple mind, and I can just speak to myself and where I was before Christ and after Christ, where now I see things as a big picture and not just a fragment of my life that is either black and white and seems so simple, and what may seem logical to the world, actually when you understand the depth and complexity of God, and there is a simpleness to it. It is love and understanding that He loves us and He knows what's best for us. So there is a simpleness to it. Reading the Bible isn't complicated, but you start to understand there's a deeper meaning and it's not just surface level. So the next part is picking up on verse 5. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance for understanding proverbs and parables. So before it was saying, for the simple, and I can really look at my lifestyle before Christ. I wasn't really very prudent in that lifestyle versus afterwards. And then it's also speaking to the wise. So if you're gaining wisdom from the Bible, then you never get to a point where you're just wise enough or good enough or you have all the knowledge. It's something that you always refer back to. You're always going to. The knowledge never stops. You're always growing. And what I've learned is I'm actually learning a lot more about me and how I need to change, or how He's growing me in the difficult times and the hard times, and understanding people and how I need to respond instead of react. So I can definitely say no matter where you're at, whether you're kind of just starting or you've been a follower for a long time, the Bible is always a place of instruction and teaching and getting wisdom. And then discernment. Discernment is kind of being able to tell, what? This isn't really right. You can pick up on things and people's characteristics and whether or not they're for good or they're for evil or for harm and hurt. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance for understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. And so what we don't want to do is we don't want to be fools. We don't want to be simple. We want to look for knowledge. It says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and really think about fear as respect, and just kind of knowing God is all knowing. He knows what's best. And if I want to look towards the Lord and have that respect and not disappoint in the fact that my actions are hurting Him, it's just like if you're a parent, you raise your child a certain way, and if they disappoint you, it's not so much that it hurts you. It does, that maybe they've broken your trust, but you know with that decision how it's going to hurt them. And we have that same relationship with Christ. We may, I remember I really didn't get into trouble very much when I was young because I knew if my parents told me no to something, they did it because they loved me. It was in my best interest, even though maybe it didn't seem like it or it didn't seem like fun. So anyway, that's all I wanted to point out for Proverbs 1 today. Have a great new year for 2020, and I will see you all tomorrow. All right.